Regular meeting of the Windsor Heights City Council. We have a quorum. Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great.
All right, roll call.
Here.
Joseph Jones.
Here.
Libbie. Here. Lauren Campbell.
Here.
Street South Farms.
She is on her way. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Skeries?
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
I think that was a yes.
Yes.
Joseph.
Can you hear me?
Now we
Hello?
can.
Okay. Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
All right, public forum. This is the time set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. No action may be taken. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Anybody online? No? Hand raising? Any? No? All right. All right, item 4, consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the numerous items on the consent agenda?
Skeries?
Yeah.
Joseph, we can't hear you if you're talking.
I couldn't hear you guys until just now.
Okay.
Yes.
Michael Libbie. Yes. Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Street South Farms.
Yes.
All right, action items 5A, discuss proposed YMCA summer camp at Colby Park. AJ.
Yes, good evening, council. Nathan and I have been having some conversations with Joel, who's here this evening with YMCA, about the possibility of holding a summer camp this summer at Colby Park. Just a quick high-level summary, and I do have a typo in my staff report here. The tentative hours would be from approximately 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., not 9 p.m. And they are flexible on those hours. One of the items that we talked about this afternoon was the yoga at the CEC, which there's potential for conflict during rain days, but we think we could resolve that by starting the camp later. In our conversations, talked about some nominal compensation for use of the park and just kind of general cleanup and other stuff. So the YMCA is offering $1,000 cash donation for the use of the park, as well as discounted rate of $10 per kid for any Windsor Heights resident that would participate in that camp. I've got listed here some just key discussion points and conditions, having talked to a few different departments. A few of the concerns are just how high that participation level might be in those spaces that they use. So they're anticipating maybe 60 to 75 kids would be participating in the camp at any given time. I think one of the concerns is just making sure that we keep the playground generally accessible to residents, particularly during peak hours, and they seem agreeable to scheduling kind of set hours within that playground and sort of rotating spaces in the general grassy areas to make sure there's not too much wear and tear on any specific part, and to avoid conflicts with the pavilion and the ball diamonds, as well as the CEC when they might be rented. So there's some coordination pieces that would come along with this if council would like to move forward with it. One of those pieces is the CEC on a rain date. They'd like to potentially use that CEC for the activities. We talked about making our calendar of rentals for Ball Diamonds Pavilion and the CEC available to them and not booking more or less than 2 days in advance, which is kind of our general practice anyway, just for scheduling cleaners. And typically people aren't booking it less than that in advance, but that way they'd be aware if the CEC is available. If there is a paid renter in there, they would have alternative accommodations for that day camp on the rain date. If it is available, they'd use the CEC and return it back to its prior condition and clean it at the end of the day. As I mentioned, yoga classes, they typically go there 6 to 7 a.m. I think they may go outdoors during some portion of the summer as well. So there'd be some coordination there. And then if the camp started at 7:15 a.m., we'd be missing the yoga class, so there wouldn't be any conflict in the CEC. We also have the library does readings 4 times in the summer at 10:15. I've talked to the library tentatively about how they would react to that if there was a rain date. Typically, if there's not an indoor facility where they go and do these story times, they would just cancel that event. So that would be an option to cancel it or potentially incorporate the YMCA into that reading. But with 60 kids in the CEC, with what I understand from Adam is historical attendance at that, might get pretty crowded in the CEC if you have both of those activities going on at the same time. Other than that, we've just got some general maintenance that Public Works does down at the park. So kind of coordinating when mowing's happening, chemical spraying's happening on various sections. They're pretty flexible in the space that they'd be using. And then irrigation turns off at 6 a.m. So you'd still have some dampness in the grass in addition to the dew. I think it meets some of the missions that we've talked about from a city council perspective. I'd be supportive of trying to give it a go this year and see if it all works out well. But certainly a lot of pieces to kind of coordinate. So if there's some additional conditions that are needed on there to make sure things run smooth, we can certainly work through those in the coming weeks as well. But Joel, do you have any comments that you want to add?
Will you come up here, please?
So they can.
You're fine. Just for Joseph, who's,
Sure. So I
Make sure to hit that button.
hit the button.
it should be
It
red.
already be read. I think it was on.
That was, okay. So the YMCA has done a lot of renting of the CEC and we have had a lot of meetings there. And so this kind of dawned on me it wasn't this for this, I actually approached last summer, was the first summer, but we were sitting there and we've always been looking for an outdoor facility where we can have youth come together, participate in day camp. And I was sitting there in a meeting and it was just like an aha moment for me as we were sitting there because this park is so beautiful and what a treasure it would be to bring youth alongside of the park and have that as a place that they could call home for the summer. And so really, we've been doing day camp since the early 1990s. And so I've been charged with continually trying to find different locations in order to offer camp. This would also help serve our Walnut Creek branch, who has a large population of youth in the area, and they come to them all the time for day camp, and sometimes we're not able to provide it. So in a close vicinity that's close to that branch. So I'm just really excited to even have the opportunity to speak to all of you, to be here, to try and see if this is something that we can do and partner together. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I noticed that, Joelle, is it?
Yes, Joelle.
Thank you. I noticed that the times have changed. I was looking at the original draft of the document. It said 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm talking, oh, wow.
Nope.
The
That's
9
too
p.m.
long.
was on me. That was
Oh, okay. All right.
So, and we can be flexible with our start time. We have just typically in the past always offered from 6:30 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m., but that doesn't mean that everybody's schedule needs that, as we were discussing earlier today. From 6:30 to 7:30 a.m., we have very few children that actually join us that early. So moving a start time to a 7 or a 7:15, whatever works out best, I still think we could serve the community in that way.
And the children are brought to the CEC, would be brought to Colby Park by their parents, right?
Yes, correct. Dropped off, picked up, signed in, signed out, all the things.
Yes.
Well, great to see
It's
you.
nice to see you again too.
So my girls have been a part of not only the Y day camp, but also the overnight camp in Boone. So we've participated in all of the things. So would this be then, you're not replacing an existing, but adding to what you guys, your offerings for your day camp locations?
Correct.
Okay,
So currently I'm working with the church in Waukee
Okay.
to offer day camp in Waukee, and then also West Des Moines Christian Church has hosted us for the last couple of summers, and then prior to COVID as well. So
yeah,
this
that's what
would-
my girls did it over there.
Yep, so this would be in addition to that.
Okay, all right, just curious.
Yep.
So, all right, and so how many kids what would be your maximum capacity for the kiddos at this location?
We've said 75. If it needs to be less than that, I'm happy to do that. But our campsites typically run anywhere from 40 to about 75. So it just depends on where they're located, how much space there is,
Mhm.
and then what we feel like we can accommodate. So
Okay, I was just curious.
we would,
'cause-
we would probably, honestly, we would cap, when we put out marketing information and advertise out, we always usually cap at 60. And then if we feel like there is more of a need than that, then we would reduce it down. 60 is like the magic number. 75, I will tell you, sometimes starts to feel a little heavy. And if you go over that, it feels a lot heavier. So I've done it all. So.
So one of the things that you know very well is that childcare, particularly in the summer, what it generally means for families is either somebody doesn't work or the kids stay home by themselves, is a very typical situation. Maybe even kids who shouldn't be left home alone by themselves. So this is just opening up. What did you guys have a wait list last year?
We did at one of our sites, yes. So
Yeah.
last year we were at Brookview Elementary, and this is our last year working with, we had a partnership with Waukee Community Schools. This is our last year working with them as they are trying to in-house everything that they do. And so, yes, at Brookview last summer, we had a substantial wait list. Like, we didn't ever have a week of camp that went by that we weren't full there.
Mhm. Okay.
And we had another Waukee location last summer. It was a smaller location, so we maxed that one out at about 40. And so, and every week is different. Like, some weeks really have a heavier load than others for parents. 4th of July, we tend to not see as many, but over the rest of the summer, it's
Mhm.
usually pretty full.
Yep.
We ran it right about 60 at West Des Moines Christian Church last year too.
Yeah. I will say that as a parent of young children who are still in that space, right? Lauren and I are well.
Oh, I'm
Adam
taking
too, I
notes
guess
and-
Mike is too. Sometimes I forget that, Aaron knows, but that finding quality childcare is a huge issue, and it's one that even the state has looked at continuously about what do we do to continue to make sure that people have access, and affordability and all of those factors play in as well. So
Julie?
Yes.
Liability
Yes.
insurance.
Mhm.
I suspect that you carry that, or would
We
that?
do.
be- okay.
We carry a very large liability insurance just
Sure.
because we do childcare, youth sports, all across the gamut of everything that we do. And we can get you that information if you need it.
One question that came up on special events that I was messaged when we talked about this was, would Windsor Heights residents get priority at all? I know that they're getting a $10 discount, but would they receive any type of priority to get them into this camp versus anybody else in the surrounding area?
I can definitely take that question back. I don't work on that end of things, so I don't know how to manage what that looks like, but I mean, we could. Look, what comes to my, off the top of my head is maybe in January, we say only open to Windsor Heights folks, and then after that, we can open it up to the public. That's where, like, I'd have to find out from our people that make the magic happen in technology. If that would be, possible, but it was very well received that, we could give a discount to Windsor Heights with people who had a Windsor Heights address. So that, like, if that wasn't easy, I took it back and they were just like, absolutely, and we can do that. So they figured that out really easy. But I can ask that question.
Okay.
Can definitely get you that answer.
I have a question about inclement weather. So beyond just rain and going to the CEC, I think about the summer and tornado sirens going off. So this might be more of a question about our facilities. What does that look like down at the park if the tornado sirens are going off and there are 60 to 75 kids and adults around?
My suggestion would be give them a CEC card pass, because we're not going to want to coordinate that the day of the
Yeah.
rain anyway. And then both of the kitchens are windowless interior spaces. That would be, along with the restrooms, probably the best place to cram 65 squealing kids.
Be fun times.
Yeah,
I will be
mm,
at home that day.
Yes.
Keep them away from the
Yeah.
ovens.
Well,
they're invited
over?
Well, that,
Well, you
we'll get
know.
some flashlights in those
They get a
bathrooms.
little
for emer-
squirrely when we have events like that, but yes,
And-
I train my staff to know what to do when those types of things happen. so,
Sure,
yes.
just making sure, I think more, maybe my concern was more that we're providing adequate, resources if the CC is safe enough, And then this is more personal. What's the age range for this day camp?
Completed kindergarten through 5th grade.
Awesome.
My kids loved it. Like, it was always a pick and a go-to.
And if I read correctly, you do other activities, like you're gone through some of the time to correct,
Yes.
like pool or whatever.
Yep, we take
Fun.
2 field trips every week and they're usually in the afternoons because we realize that it's either, well, if it's an outdoor field trip, sometimes those are in the morning just because it does get too hot. But I would say that we're off-site at least 2 afternoons. And then we also can bring in special guests. And then we just have a robust curriculum that is planned from literally 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the or 6 o'clock in the evening every day. Even if field trips are scheduled, they just go in and pick what they want to do for the week and they jump over the other activities. So
Then my next question is, let's say that the Blank Park Zoo comes out
Mhm.
with Ruby or whoever it is. Of course, there's going to be kids at the playground that are not in this group. Will they be invited or will they be allowed to kind of be in there as,
they could sure join us. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Have you ever, you said you have special guests from time to time.
Mhm.
Have you ever had the Iowa League of Heroes in?
I don't believe so.
There you go.
There we go. I got a new idea tonight.
Sure, the fire department would be happy to host a little walk up and do
Yeah.
a run.
That would be awesome.
I don't know, I think there might be some heavy duty equipment that, on a slow day could do a drive-by, right?
What else do you need from council, AJ?
Tonight's just discussion to get feedback. I know you're hoping to get registration open relatively soon. Sounds like you've got broad support. So I would anticipate getting some sort of an agreement in place and passed at the next council meeting. But, barring any concerns, you can probably start to move forward, I guess, if council seems generally all right.
Sounds good.
Could you bring back the answer regarding the, I think, early registration
Yes.
period?
Yep. I will make sure that gets asked tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, item 5B, consideration of resolution number 2024-76, a resolution to provide for a notice, public hearing on the proposed plan, specs, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the 68th Street South Reconstruction Project and for the taking of bids on said project.
so moved.
Oh, yes. Second.
Oh,
Justin.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up plans this week. We're bidding norm. Period is a little longer this time just to do with how council sits and holidays. Don't want to cram a bidding project in for over the holidays. So we'll get that posted this week and get ready to rock and roll and hopefully some good bids come in and we'll get Mott done at the same time. Any questions I can feel free to take?
Public comment? None? Right online? Questions from council or discussion?
I know that this is kind of this revolves around 68th Street and us moving the street as we're doing, but have we ever heard back about the CenturyLink fiasco? Any answers to that?
I did respond to 2 residents that sent inquiries to City Hall with the information that we had. Justin had a recording from months ago
Yeah.
where they provided some comments at that time. I've reached out, you've reached out. We've gotten no response to the various people that we reached out to. So we think we know what's happening, which is they've made a business decision to remove their copper. and they don't want to, in the interim while construction's occurring, sort of make the tweaks to keep that copper line functional. They just want to put fiber on the new Mid-American poles when they go in place. And so we think that's the cause of the outage. There's no restrictions as part of the project that they couldn't continue to offer service if they desired to. I would anticipate Metronet, who's up on those poles, will provide service for the duration of the project. So it's a private business decision. I don't like it, but I don't know that there's anything we can do to change that decision.
Yeah, it was never forced upon them to cancel service. It was more or less, they have, from what I understand, old infrastructure there that they probably weren't, like Adam said, weren't willing to stick money into new. And then eventually, I don't know who their new one is, Quantum Fiber, I think is their new internet for service. So once the poles and the project get done, it's my understanding that they'll come back and do it, but not 100% sure in there.
This is like, nothing can be done with the utilities board or anything about them not providing service to one street.
Or the way that they're communicating,
Yeah.
like making it sound like we've got no option.
Because we're
That we
moving a
like.
street.
Or that it's our fault.
Yeah,
There's that too.
yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
County's fault.
the letter was very deceiving. I mean, I had to read it a few times to even figure out what was said.
He sent it to me. I thought it was a scam or something like that, to be honest with you. So,
I can certainly try to communicate with utility boards. Be like, I don't believe they have any requirement to provide service anymore. I don't know if Aaron.
deregulation, I bet, yeah.
There is.
But do they have to have permits to put stuff up on the new poles? And can we
Well,
make that challenging for
They
them?
have the right to operate within the right of way.
Fine.
They have permits. but
Challenging
it's-
for one of those than the other.
Yeah.
We
It's
do,
not like it's not like your electric utilities that they are required because they have a service area and they have to respond. It's different because you have choice in who your providers are for cable utilities or.
I will share that there are some utility companies that are worse than others in removing wires that have been downed on poles for a significant long time. And at times we have talked about stopping permitting for those companies until they resolve those issues. So I don't think I need to name any names, but that is something that we try to treat everybody fairly on.
Mhm.
But if they are unresponsive and dealing with issues in the right of way, messes that they made, we do withhold those permits or consider withholding those permits until they resolve the issue. But at the end of the day, you're impacting Windsor Heights residents by withholding that as well. So it's a double-edged sword.
For sure.
How many people are impacted?
We've gotten
Oh, I don't know.
2 letters ourselves. I don't
I
recall.
had two people that reached out to me.
2 have called the city. I know. I don't know if they're the same.
They're not the same. So at least 4, and who knows how many received it, and
And they're all on 68th, right?
yes. But then they ask, are we moving a road? I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that's what that was about.
no, we're not moving a road. We're just redoing your road.
Right.
We're not picking it up and moving it to like 69th Street, like.
So I think what happened was there's the pedestals there that end up being in the way. So I asked them to move it and that's when they said, oh, we're just not gonna put it back. So yes, we're eliminating that service, so. Not sure what speeds they provide or what on copper, probably not great, but whatever.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, further questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Susan Skeries.
Yes.
Joseph Jones,
Yes.
Michael Libbie.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
5C, consideration of 63rd Street barrier. That you again?
I will attempt. This was a Nate thing, but he's unable to be here. So I think this is just a follow-up from our discussions with the homeowner there that we've had.
Yeah.
Number
quick
issues.
Background, September 17th, council took a look at an initial draft with some rock barriers. There's kind of the expense, there's the question put of, do we want to move forward with something? Yes or no? The general consensus was yes. And then the second follow-up question, I think, was, would you like to do something expensive or cheap? And then we kind of had some conversations about the number of those stones and signage. There's conversation of Do we want to do similar signage that we did on University and some other places in town, and or reserve spot for public art in the future? And so that in combination of maintenance questions of the property, were kind of considered. We've removed the landscaping around those rocks. The landowner that will maintain this has indicated that he has no issues mowing around this. Given his backyard, he may wish to do some native plantings as well, but I think we can just leave that to him. But we've kind of minimized for the future, at least, if that property changes over, that there's just the rocks to move around. And then Nate has priced out the signage option as well, which is not inexpensive. So you kind of have two choices here of going with the minimal number of rocks or do the signage, of which there's a graphic on there, a couple pages down, I think. And or you can always do that signage later as well. I don't think there's anything that would prohibit that. We can just kind of design it, the rock formation, with the concept of adding that art sign.
Or
in the
those rocks
future.
could be moved. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not permanent. So
Small car can just kind of shove them out of the way.
you're right. New front end loader can move them around. From what I've talked to Nate about, from the alternates for the signs, is it's starting with the least expensive to the most expensive on it within. And the size is also a determination. One thing to point out is we have no survey there. Oh, I don't know what utilities are in the ground or whatnot. Some of them have light. We don't know exactly where the power would come from. We have an idea, but there's still things that need to happen. But this was just to show what some options of monument signs if we wanted to go there. But if you don't, we can just go with the stones itself.
I like the first one. I mean, I know we haven't seen them all yet, but.
Sold, first one.
Cost estimates on the signage?
70 to 80,000.
Yeah, that was arranged for the whole thing.
I like the stones.
I do too. Just the stones, keep it simple.
Yeah.
And then if we somehow, the city wins the lotto, then we have this amount of money, then we can do a whole bunch of fun things. And are these the number of stone blocks? Is that like how many?
Give or take. They can be, the key ones there are sort of, I would say, is from the signal pole to the north, the ones to the south, and the three kind of far north, or give or take while we put them in there. But I think the middle portion there is from, you can see where the car went through into the signal pole is probably the most critical. The other ones can be moved around or not installed at all. So
Where would the budget for the monument sign come from?
Probably after, you can pull it from council reserves, you can pull local option sales tax. We are looking at next fiscal year installation of this. So we would budget for the entirety or just the stones, depending on council's discretion there.
Okay.
Well, the stones, do the job.
the goal is to minimize somebody running through the fence
Right.
again, right?
That's
So the
that's
stones,
Point of this. right?
yeah, the stones
Why we're
probably
here.
weigh a ton a piece, and you add a couple in there, and
Right.
like Adam said, a car would push them, but it's not gonna continue on, so, which is my opinion, better than putting a guardrail up or something that it's a direct impact, so it's not a detriment or a safety thing to the car as well. So
All right.
If the monument sign did go up, where would it be?
I think that's,
It's on the one image right there, sign location, right?
yeah, that might give or take a little bit, cause I don't recall if the DOT was solely sold on that, but there is a piece of city property there just to the north of that, like not very far, which then it's a different story, right?
Sure.
The property in that area is a little weird, to say the least. So. Plus, like I said, I don't know where buried utilities and things like that have to be determine, so.
On alternate A where it says 9-inch aluminum cabinet, is that the entirety of the sign or is that down at the base? Or
So
9-foot aluminum cabinet? Never mind.
with,
Foot and inches are different. Noted.
I don't know why it says cabinet. I think what it is, it's a cabinet of, so it's the whole vertical sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's aluminum.
Gotcha.
This is where I said I'll try on this. Nate had some fancy terminology of how this is actually, I think it's almost like a wrap of the aluminum or something like that, where it's not, or it's etched in the aluminum somehow with a color. So I'm just an engineer.
You're the
Creativity does
You're
not
the
come from-
wish.com version of Nate. We get it. we
Yeah,
get it.
right. So that's my understanding. It's aluminum with it etched, the thing, you know, the
Okay.
Windsor Heights etched in there.
Would it be cheaper if it was wrapped?
Potentially, but I don't know how long it lasts.
And if a vehicle strikes that,
Yeah,
yeah,
so insurance is
You have
for
like
it.
2 feet at the bottom. That's
Yeah.
stone and brick.
I mean, realistically, in what was it, 10 or 15 years, there were only 3 cars that went through, so.
Yeah, your
at
odds are,
3,000 cars going through that intersection in one day. Honestly, I would be okay with not even putting the blocks there because statistically, you know, you have 0.001% chance of it happening. So.
Okay.
You said that there's a city property further to the north. I'm wondering,
just barely.
just barely, okay, because I'm wondering if that traffic signal pole would kind of block view to any monument sign as people are headed north on 63rd anyway.
Yeah, Nate and I had the discussion about the north, like on the option B of where,
Mm-hmm.
how to put those, what do you want to really, those banners on there of where you put them to, for people to see, I guess. Like, do you put one on the left? Cause the other one blocks from coming
Mm,
from the east.
gotcha.
So. Yeah, the property is just, I think, a little bit to the north of where we have it shown in the overall. It's like a long rectangular portion right along the sidewalk. Why that is.
So blocks, sign, neither.
box.
This is a consideration item. If anyone wants to make a motion,
So I'm gonna make a motion to accept the blocks and the sign.
What sign? A sign?
A sign.
I don't know if we really need to know at this time, do we? Or how do you want to do
It-
that? It's really gonna go in the CIP,
Yeah,
right?
It's just for budgeting purposes for us. If you just want to defer the decision, that's fine. But we can incorporate whatever sign you'd like, in a future date too, but if you're ready to make a decision, then I suppose we can get more numbers behind that and narrow
Yeah.
that price range down by the time we get to the actual budget decision. So
Second, Teresa's motions.
and which expensive sign are we?
Oh, let's go for the,
Well,
Most-
D does match the other signs in the city, like the style, but that is slightly more expensive than.
that one, the one you're looking at.
You said that they go by price, so the,
Yes.
okay.
That one too, or if you recall that your emblem is handmade from whatever RDG studio is down there.
And one's inverted from the other.
Huh?
And one's inverted from the other. Am I recalling that correctly?
Yeah, I don't remember how that, and it took some time to track that down, so it matches. Hopefully they have the template yet. It gets cast or. They have a place downtown, I guess, that does it.
Fancy,
Yeah.
shocking.
Okay.
Sticker on it.
Joseph, did you get that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on the motion for the stones and sign alternative B? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Susan Skeries?
No.
Joseph Jones?
Yes.
Michael Libbie?
No.
Lauren Campbell?
Yes.
Teresa Harms?
Yes.
All right. 5D, consideration of Colby Park Food Truck Plaza seating.
I can kick it off, but, so yes, we discussed initially the art benches at a price of about $50,000. The general council opinion, I think at that time was, let's find something a little more practical that offers some more seating. So we came back with an alternative about a month ago with various combinations of these benches and tables. There was, I think, interest in sort of a modified one that used a few of those tables and then maximize the amount of seating as well. After the meeting, Nate and I walked down there, and the location that we had looked at adding kind of most of those tables, which is, Adam, if you could go down to the last page there. So if you see the 4 tables there now on the bottom right, yeah, just north of that was in that green rectangle is where we were looking at it. Well, there's a utility box there that got added to the project to service the food truck plaza and the future tennis courts. So we couldn't put them where we kind of talked about at the council meeting. That's why Nate's got them shown to the south of the sidewalk instead. But this is the alternative hearing council discussion that he's come up with. We are back about to our original price, but with at least a significant more number of seats, I guess, than the art benches offered. So we can continue to make revisions, or if you like this design, we can move forward with this next spring.
Can you review what is in the bottom right corner? Like, it looks like Tetris green things.
It has to do with the takeouts. So you see their ADA on there. I think they're just turned to get, and it eliminates the amount of ADA so you can get more seating in there instead of just like that. So they're kind of turned so you don't have the wheelchair access up to them. So it's just more seating.
So each of the little pods are 2 of the takeout tables and with at least one ADA
Correct. Yep.
accessible seat.
Yep.
Okay.
We kind of see where the bump outs are.
Yeah.
So there's 4 ADA instead of, if you didn't put them in there, there'd been double that. So 8.
Ladybug.
Me? Tell him sign.
What I liked about the last one is that it was kind of more scattered throughout. This is really concentrated in one area. It's like that's where you go to sit and eat as opposed to having different spots, but or this is what allows us to maximize the seating. I don't know.
Is this 8 or 10 Jesse tables?
Four.
Then what are the other 4 then?
Those are benches.
So I'm confused on what I'm even looking at, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think those are just benches, aren't they?
Yeah, those are the.
Oh, existing benches.
Currently at the park. So we've got
Jesse table, Jesse table, Jesse table, Jesse table, and then the 4 takeouts, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we still have the Jesse tables.
That repainted, put back in there.
So we have
Okay,
the,
so I misunderstood. Okay.
so we have the 4 Jesse
Joseph, that probably didn't make
tables.
any sense to you because you weren't watching that.
So there's 4 Jesse tables and 6 benches that are currently there that I'm looking at that are all the dashes.
This right here?
Yes.
Yes, those.
Yeah, 4 along the food truck plaza and the 2 along the, what,
The arc.
arc.
Okay, now, okay, that makes more sense to me now. I thought it was just these little.
Thank you.
They are currently there?
I don't know that they've been placed yet, but their intention is there.
Okay, I'm just looking at the drone thing photo and I don't,
Yeah, Adam, would you mind
This
pulling
looks
up
good.
that other attachment? I dropped it in there
Here, here.
earlier today where Teresa is ready to move. There's another attachment on the agenda. That's a current aerial.
BMI Kobe Park drone.
What's that?
Did you add it in, but did you unpublish and republish?
No, so it's not in the PDF packet. It's just in the online one.
Yeah, it's on the website. Yeah, that's where I pulled it up.
I checked
I
it.
just downloaded this.
Yeah, I'm using it now. That's the intended place for it.
Yeah.
Okay,
As I understood it, at least. Yeah.
that makes sense. They don't look as long as.
Yeah, BMI Colby Park drone.
Yes. I think there's technically 8 benches, there's 4 spots, right? So they're whatever feet long.
Can you review that one more time? Or actually, after that, after we can wait.
You're gonna have to, we're gonna have to
There.
put in a bunch of
How we
concrete,
moved it.
right?
That drawing,
Yeah, they were gonna go.
there's
with
4
the
spots, but I
benches.
think there's technically 8 benches.
Correct.
There's because I'm doing the math
Yeah,
in my
there's
head.
2 in each one.
There's 2 in each one, so they're. I don't know how long those things are.
So when you do this, the Jesse table, all of them are 23,200 and then the takeout is 21,120. So
Yes.
Is it the nice table or the cheaper one?
What they're.
Yeah.
you're talking about like the bar top or
Yeah.
the backrest bar
Yeah.
top one?
See, so about 35. I'm guessing it's the backrest one.
No. Picture is just the regular one.
Nope, I think you're right. It's the regular one, yeah.
I think it's cheap.
And it only gets more expensive.
All right. Well, it is a consideration item. Is council satisfied with this rendering, or would they like it to go back to BMI?
To approve.
Second.
I'll take that as satisfaction. Further, any questions for Justin? Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Joseph Jones,
Yes.
Michael Libby.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
5E, consideration of the 2025 special events calendar.
I'll kick it off, but our special events wizard can certainly chime in. So we're just looking for confirmation. We circulated this a couple weeks ago, the tentative event dates. We're going to get these online and in the website calendar and on Facebook here shortly. So mostly an FYI, but if there's any questions or concerns, there are several that are still up in the air. We're looking at May 30th is potentially a combined touch a truck ribbon cutting for the splash pad and the movie. No movie.
Mm-mm.
So the June 6th would stay.
Yes.
Okay. So scratch the movie in the park, but June 6th movie. And then tentative community garage sale, June 6th and 7th. And spring cleanup on the 14th. Pete, will there be intentions for National Night Out this coming year? Do you know? Stay tuned. I think there was a conflict with some other events last year, so.
And our park wasn't ready last year too.
Yeah, because that's nice nights, still going on in there.
I mean, that's been going on for how long now, though, that Nights in the Heights has had the concert after National Night Out.
right.
So
Really a big pull.
It
I think
is.
it's good.
I heard a lot of people were disappointed, and I didn't even know it wasn't going on until I heard about it in the special events committee, meeting. So I do
I had a
hope
lot of
it-
questions about it too, so.
Taking a look at it, our staffing was so low that day, we've been asked many years to go assist other agencies that help us. So we decided to go that route this year, but we're fully staffed. He said out loud, but we're fully staffed, so hopefully, yeah.
Well, they can come help us then.
Sure.
Santa rides around town, that got canceled. Jim just left earlier, so I'm not sure that that's getting rescheduled. I know they were going to look at that option. But I
that's
hadn't-
for
the Santa on
2025,
the,
though.
what's that?
This is for 2025, so
2025, yep. So I think, yeah, sorry. The intention is to do it in 2025. I'm not sure about the 2024 one. And then possible date night movie.
Maybe we could do it in July.
There we go. It'd be kind of a hot Santa trap. but-
I am not wearing the Santa suit. That is,
Christmas in
and
July.
I don't know if Santa will come from the North Pole.
Maybe Santa will show up for Fall Festival.
Inviting people to Windsor Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Nights and nights, dates been set.
It's
I
not
don't
updated on their
think so.
website presently, but typically Tuesdays running
From the
end of
Last-
June 9, I
last-
think.
The last Tuesday in June usually. Sometimes it's.
To
in-
coincide with the ice cream social.
Yeah. They're
the construction.
Yes, I can put it in that contract.
they're going through a leadership change at the foundation, so as soon as they get that set.
Just
we'll let you know.
They do feel bad.
Sooner the better. All right.
And I'm thinking possible movie date sometime between like June and August-ish in there somewhere, maybe. It depends on sponsorship and budget.
So I did receive a recommendation on winter games for an event, so I just throw it out there.
Like the
I'm setting that
Okoboji
to the
ones?
special events committee. What'd you say?
Like the Okoboji Winter Games?
I don't know. I've never been there for that, so.
We'll need a lake.
Jump in the river.
Mhm. We don't have one of those. Maybe jump in the splash pad.
It was almost warm enough, I understand.
Mm-hmm,
The bubble machine was going. It was a Don Ho Christmas special, tiny bubbles.
mm-hmm.
Not that I know what that is, but I know what the tiny bubbles are, so I have no idea.
Looks good. What do you need?
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Susan Skeries.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
There is a yes.
Okay. Michael Libbie. Yes. Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Teresa Harms.
Yes.
5F, discuss 2025 city council goals.
All right, so last year the city spent quite a bit of time on a vision statement. And then we also in December and January talked through the 2024 city council goals. I put in blue here under the draft 2025 goals, just a few highlights from various departments. The only thing I've recommended for change is goal number 4, objective A, since we did revise the employee handbook. Our plan is to annually review that and revise that with Aaron. So I just changed it from review to annually review. But certainly happy to do any follow-ups council might have as far as getting additional answers in addition to what Andy and Pete can answer here tonight, or make additional revisions. Otherwise, it's just under discussed tonight, I guess. So put it back on a consent agenda item if it's all satisfactory.
Good with the goals?
Yep.
Mhm.
Everyone here set them, so.
Yep.
Okay. Joseph, anything from you?
Oh, they're good for me.
Okay.
Maybe under diversity and inclusion, we can include council awards. Council should strive to receive awards. Public recognition. ITs. You want a motion to approve?
No, it's just discuss. I'll put it
Okay.
back on consent agenda.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Reports. My report is in the packet. Ms. Harms?
First and foremost, thank you to everybody who came and helped with the Winter Wonderland. Not only to our folks around the dais. Adam was a major rock star throughout the week and everything. And the day of, and Megan, he knew what needed to happen. So it's good. You've been through there before. You knew what the expectations were. We had a little glitch, but then this Adam over here, this one, was from the beginning of my planning stages. So solid rock star. Thank you for your dedication, for answering all my tough questions, for getting me things 500 times, because not really, but sometimes a couple of times. But just consistently following through and doing the things that that we needed to have done in order to do this. Thanks to the Public Works team for setting everything up. And I know Nate's not on, but or here, but I know he was responsible for a lot of the decorating and doing a lot of the stuff down at the community center. When I got there on Thursday and walked in, and the tree was already up, and there were so many things already done. It just made my job so much easier, but that was just the getting things up and running. So Public Works was amazing. The addition of the Tree of Fields this year is, if you haven't drove by it, it's Aaron. If you haven't driven by it, you go get down there, and I've seen people out there taking pictures, of the trees and using it as a photo op setting for those that decorated the trees, because I know we had some community folks who participated in that as well. I think it turned out beautifully. Lots of suggestions and great advice for moving forward with that. And so thanks to the Public Works team for having faith in the process and the request and for making it happen. I think we had like 25 trees donated, and I negotiated at 13. Did we get 13 up? We got 13 up, and they look beautiful and awesome. But then thanks to all the volunteers who made it, I was a little nervous going into it, and we ended up having plenty of volunteers to pull stuff off. And weather was absolutely perfect. But anyways, just I can't thank everybody enough for every contribution, as big or as little as it was. Even Chief Roth went and looked through the boxes until we found the gift cards that got moved. So when we thought that they went missing, well, they did go missing. They just moved to they moved to a new location. But anyway, so I don't think most people knew the small stuff that was maybe missing in the big grand scheme of things. But I'm getting ready to put out some sort of an evaluation. It probably won't be until after Christmas, but just looking for feedback and recommendations on how we can make improvements to whether it's processes or activities or whatever the case may be. So otherwise, I think it went off. We only had one lost person, maybe two. Separated, yeah. So not, yeah.
Not lost, just relocated.
Just relocated, yeah, relocated, not dislocated, relocated. But anyways, I just thank you, everybody, for your continued support. I continue to be amazed at the number of people who show up, and obviously the weather had a lot to do with that this time, but yeah, so thousands of people who came out to enjoy Windsor Wonderland, and we're glad that we could make the event available and for people to come out and enjoy all the fun and activities. So I did get some feedback from people like, we didn't even go in the community center because it looked too busy or whatever the case may be. So again, went off without a hitch, and just really appreciate everybody's efforts. This week, we also thanks again, kudos, appreciate you all. And you're all marked for the same things next year, FYI. And then Metro, Mayor Jones was at Metro Waste on last week, Tuesday, for the Metro Waste Tour. If you have not had a chance to get out and take a tour, Susan is our representative. But we did have a lot of local electeds. Oh, you were there too. Sorry, Adam. Folks who come and take the tour, and it's just such an important, I think it's such a valuable thing to see and experience, so you can understand like why you put certain things in your recycling and why you don't. There's so much value to that. And I think sometimes until you see and experience that tour, you don't like actually get. I want to send my husband on it because I want him to know why we don't put plastic bags in recycling. Okay. And my children. But I'm trying to think, there was something else, but so thank you for a wonderful year, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of the things that we celebrate during this time of the year, and Happy New Year. That's all I got. There's a lot.
I don't know what I could possibly add about Windsor Wonderland, but thank you to everybody. And thanks to everybody for a great year of special events. I don't want to speak for Susan, but I feel pretty confident that we will not be forcing people to hand out flyers at Hy-Vee next year. I feel like we've gotten the word out at this point. It will be an optional and not a guilt trip sign up situation for this next year. Bravo, I had to miss the last meeting, but the grants have been distributed. Hopefully you've received some emails from some of the grant recipients thanking Windsor Heights for being members. If not, I can forward those all on, but it's I know that this funding cycle was had some challenges, and that there were some funds that, or some awarded grants that were not as high as they'd been in previous years. And so we know that every dollar that Bravo can spend supporting those organizations is valuable. So that's all I got.
Libbie?
Justin, those dates for Nights in the Heights, final Tuesday in June through the first Tuesday in August.
Okay.
You're welcome. The only one that's in the air right now is 4th of July, so they're trying to figure it out. Right. Thanks for the meeting this morning, AJ. Those are always good. I think the Windsor Wonderland was it's a good thing we had warm weather. I don't know what we would have done with all those people. It was a mob. And the only other thing is I think it's the final Saturday. I do a coffee with council over at Grounds for Celebration on the 28th. That's all I have, sir.
Mr. Jones?
Beginning of the year, January 13th, we will have our big next get together for DART on the Reimagined DART project. So there'll be kind of a half day worth of things for the commission to have a workshop on, and then there's an interactive workshop with others that afternoon. So now that we're all on the same page, we're going to move forward in earnest to really knock this out and have a game plan by the end of 2025. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Skeries?
I've been busy since our last council meeting. I attended several Metro Waste Authority meetings, the Catch Des Moines Christmas Party, and the Urbandale Chambers Community for a Cause Luncheon. Congratulations to Lauren for her Wellmark Inclusion Award. It was nice to be able to attend her ceremony. This morning, there was the space use analysis meeting and discussing our next steps. Tomorrow, I will attend 2 chamber events, the airport beam signing, the Des Moines Children, and the Des Moines Children's Museum water table launch party. Our special events meeting on Friday will be canceled as Lauren, Mike, and I will be at the strategic plan to address homelessness. We'll reconvene on the 17th of January for our regular meeting and start looking ahead to 2025 events. Thank you to Mike Jones, Adam, and Therese for attending the Metro Waste Authority event in Grimes. I hear you walked away with some great insights on the garbage industry. A few upcoming events to be aware of. Wake Up Windsor Heights networking event on January 9th at Dinner Dispatch. If you are wanting to attend, it's from 8 to 9, I think, and you need to reserve a spot because there's only so many open. Then the West Side Legislative Breakfast is on January 10th at the Community Event Center. So it would be good for us to attend since it's in our city. And then the Des Moines Partnerships 2025 Legislative Reception is on January 13th. So I would advise kind of signing up for them all today. Lastly, a huge thank you to Teresa and all the volunteers who helped make Windsor Wonderland a success. I hear it was a blast, and I hear the weather was perfect. You know, the one time I wasn't around, but I can tell you the weather in Costa Rica was really nice. And I spent my day by the pool. So now kind of a shameless plug. In order for us to keep having these great events in Windsor Heights, we do need more volunteers. I know it's always the same dedicated volunteers, the voluntold family members, and the overworked staff here, but we can't do it without more help. I'd love to see Windsor Heights businesses, residents, church groups, friends, and anybody else sign up to volunteer. Let's get the word out, bring in some fresh faces, and keep the fun going. Let's not have to rethink our event schedule because we're short on hands. With that, I want to wish you all a wonderful, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a very Happy New Year. Enjoy the holidays, stay safe, and let's make 2025 a success.
Here.
AJ?
Just a couple notes. We'll be doing our staff holiday party Tuesday. So we'll be closing down city buildings about a half hour early for that. Heading over to Blue Agave. Be at the water table event with 3 kids in tow. So look forward to Susan babysitting for me. I'm over there. Adam as well, I think.
I don't
And-
think we're invited, Teresa.
And I haven't talked to Justin today, but I hope he's got good news for us on 73rd, perhaps.
Still going. No plan on opening Friday.
They were out there working.
Yeah.
They've been working every day I've seen driven by.
All the pavement down today.
Couple drivers for tomorrow, that pavement up Wednesday and stripe Wednesday. Clean up Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, stripe, put some signs up and open up Friday sometime.
Yay.
Say temporary pavement?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just to get us through the winter?
No. There's a section on the south side of where they're at near college to tie into the old part.
Okay.
So it's just, it'll only be there for a year.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why we get by with warm at 20 degrees.
All right.
Oh, I got.
I expected more cheers for that Friday opening.
Right?
I mean, like, I feel like we should do a ribbon cutting on our own and invite all the residents that have dealt with this.
That would be a good idea.
There's a quarterly police department report on here. All right.
You don't read your update.
Well, you're supposed to read it. It's on there. It's on. Okay. All right. Closed session for Iowa Code 2151J to discuss the purchase of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could reasonably expected to increase the price. The governmental body would have to pay for that property. The minutes and tape recording of a session closed under this paragraph shall be available for public examination when the transaction discussed is completed.
Move to go into closed session.
Second.
Roll call.
Susan
Yes.
Skeries, Joseph Jones. They're here, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Libbie?
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Street South
Yes.
Now he's answering for
Very good,
everybody.
Joseph, I say so myself.